Okay, so just first want to say a quick thank you because about a month, I think it was a few weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, Reverend Joanne had asked me about this, to ask the whole youth to do the message, and I honestly was pretty shocked to start off with. I wasn't really expecting something this big to be a part of or to do something. You know, I'm used to sitting here or in the back, if anything, teaching the kids, not speaking to the whole congregation. So I thought it was an amazing opportunity to share some of my knowledge and some of our knowledge that we've learned for the past year. So I think, as is quite obvious, Maeve and I have graduated from multiple things, from YLU and from high school, and we're moving on to do some pretty amazing things. I mean, basically every 18-year-old does it, but for each individual person it's so momentous. We're moving out, I'm going to college, we're getting a full-time job, we're going to be meeting new people, we're going to be living our own lives, we're not going to be having any safety nets for family and parents as much as we used to, and honestly, for me, the past year leading up to this has not been what I was expecting. I think most people can say the same thing about their year in general. And I know that for me, a lot of the things that were related to senior year, to having fun with my friends, to having that culmination, it wasn't the same. I was distance learning for about half the school year. I didn't see anyone for probably a total of 8 out of the past 12 months. I was at home doing distance learning or just being at home to stay safe. And it changed my perspective on how to think of this whole situation, because for the last year, I know that for me personally, one of my main, lifelines to sanity is being able to go spend time with friends and spend time with family, and because I'm a very social person, I rely on that. Sitting at home alone isn't really the best thing for my health, and I know that obviously for the past year, I wasn't able to do that, at all. The first time I saw my friends, after we went this virtual learning at spring break of last year, I didn't see anyone from my school all the way until November of this past November. So for a good eight months. And then I saw them, then went right back to virtual learning because the school closed. And then I didn't see them again until spring break. And once that happened, everything kind of went from there, and I was able to finish off my senior year in person, spend time with my friends, graduate. And because I'm someone who relies on that so much, it had a big impact on me for not being able to do that for a whole year, to not be able to spend time with my friends and to do something that I kind of relied on to be a happy person. And I know that that's one of my main things and I have some lessons that I like to share, but first I want to ask Maeve and Will if they have some other things that they would like to share about the past year.
Hello, can you all hear me good? Okay, so like Corey, oh, yeah, I'm supposed to stand, sorry. So like Corey, I have missed out pretty much my entire senior year. I made the executive decision, whoa, that's not a word, decision to stay online my entire senior year. So I was basically just not 24/7, oh Lord, that would have been horrible. No, basically like normal school hours, screen, day in, day out. It was horrible. Don't recommend. But I also gained something, and I gained a new passion, and my passion is reading. Now you're probably like, anyone can do that. I go X Games mode, all right? I'm talking right now, I think last year, I read 30 books in the span between March and December, and then currently, I am now up to 30 books starting from January. So day in, day out, reading. I love it. When I say I love it, I mean I love it. So that's kind of what I've gained from this year. I try not to look at what I've lost, but what I've gained. Will, what about you, bud?
Well, let's start with a little bit of facts. So, hi, how's it going? The average person moves 11.7 times in their lifetime. Now, I don't know how a seventh works out in moving, but you figure that out for your own self. But if we round that up to 12, I am a fourth of the way done with my average moves. And this past year has been a hard year for, I'm going to make the executive decision to say everyone. And it's been extra hard, I feel, for me and my family because, as Scott said, we moved to Virginia last May. And so we didn't know anyone there. Well, that's not good on its own, but when you're locked up at home all the time, not meeting anyone, that's extra hard. Well, I've had some lows and highs, but I'd say that it's been a positive experience mostly for me. And one of those ways is that, yes, I lost a whole bunch of my friends here, but I also have made a good amount of new ones in Virginia. So that's been something for me. So as Corey's going to talk about, I think it's time to look forward.
Yeah. So I know for me, it's really easy for most of us to, think of, oh, I wish I could have done this, I wish I could have done that. And for me, regretting and being sad that I wasn't able to spend time with my friends for so long, that's crossed my mind quite a lot. Obviously, during the long hours in summer when all I was able to do was yard work and sit in my room, I was very regretting doing things with my friends and not being able to. And as it's come to the point where I've been able to spend time with them now, I've started to realize that it's not really good for me to think back and regret all that time that I wasn't able to spend with them, because it drags you down, it makes you feel sad. And in all honesty, I think that now being able to spend time with them now is that's the more important thing that I've been able to spend time with all my friends that I've made for the past 4 years or more for the last month or two of high school and really be able to relish it. And I think that's just the main thing, is not thinking back on what you couldn't do, but thinking forward onto what I'm able to do now to spend time with them. I know that Maeve could talk a little bit about her reading and that sort of.
So yeah, of course, there are some times where I'm like, dang, why did I not pick up reading sooner? And my answer to myself, because who doesn't have conversations with themselves, especially after the past year we've had, is time. I like to say time is a fickle thing. It is a bunch of wibbly-wobbly mess. And I think my tastes would have been different if I had picked up reading sooner or later. And that's very important to me because I've met multiple characters. I've been to many places. Well, hey, I'm not physically there. I paid the $12 to be there, so, But I would have not met the characters, and they would have not inspired me in the way that I live my life now. Along with that, right as the pandemic was happening, my grandmother's car died. And she had appointments she had to get to, and she had dogs she had to take care of. So we helped her with rides and things like that. So she's also a reader. I don't know if you can tell, but it's genetic. So we would trade books. We'd have our own 2-person little book club, and I've introduced her to young adult and new adult books, and she's introduced me to books she's read in the past. And I've gotten to have conversations with her about things I would have probably never had I not picked up reading or had I not asked her. So now I'm relishing and having these memories with her for when she does go. Unfortunately, I hope that never happens. I'll find a way. But if I would have picked up reading sooner or later, I probably wouldn't have those conversations with my grandmother. I probably wouldn't be the person who I am today. So that's why I think it's important not to look back, but look forward, as Corey says. Will?
Yeah, well, like May picked up reading, I've picked up on a whole new, almost culture of people. I mean, I've seen new restaurants, new food types in Virginia. I mean, you still got your McDonald's and your Five Guys, but there's also a place called Bojangles, if any of you have ever heard of that. So, and then I've met new people, made new friends, seen how school is the same and different there. And it's really been an interesting experience, y'all. So if you want to wrap us up, Corey.
Yep. So I think in a general sense, everyone has a lot of things that they can look back on, that they missed out on in the past year. And I mean, honestly, I think it's more than just with the pandemic. There's so many things people can regret through. I mean, I have a lot of regrets through my 18 years of life. I'm sure many people have a lot more. So it's really not the best idea to always think about what you could have done or what you did do that you didn't like or what you didn't do that you wish you would have. And it's really the best idea to start to think forward instead of looking backwards. Because in my circumstance with my friends, yeah, I wasn't able to spend time with them all that time, but being able to spend time with them now, after that period of time of not being able to, it's made our friendship so much stronger because we weren't able to see each other. We've bonded so much, we're so much closer now than I think we would have because we were all so separate and yearning to be together. The time that we're able to spend with each other now is just so much more impactful. And I think that goes for a lot of things, that everything has so much more meaning after you've lost it. If you take things for granted and then it suddenly gets taken away, it really changes your perspective. And I think that one of the big lessons for the past year, and I think for a lot of people's lives, is that tough circumstances like these, they bring about really good learning. Because most of us can say, oh, I really shouldn't think back. I shouldn't regret these things. Oh, I shouldn't think negative like that. But do you really, really think about that? Do you really start to implement that in your life until something big like COVID happens, and then suddenly most of your life has just been turned upside down? I think it's really then when you're put under those situations of pressure and the unknown that you start to really think about changing how you're thinking. And I think that's something that I've come to learn over the past year and a half, that I can't be constantly looking backwards. It brings me down. It keeps my thoughts negative. And like I said, those negative thoughts bring out negative words, negative actions. It impacts your whole life. And I think anyone can really attest to that with our beliefs in unity, that those thoughts can really change who you are and how you act. So I as for our spiritual practice, and as we usually do, we always have a spiritual practice for each week, I invite everyone to recognize and to think when you're thinking, to recognize your thoughts and to see if you're ever thinking negatively, if you're regretting something, and try to just flip it around. If you've ever thought, oh, I really wish I could have done that, or oh, I missed out on that and I'm so sad. Well, instead think of what you did instead and the benefits of being able to do this other thing that was in place of it. Or if you did something that you regretted and that you wish you would have never done, know that now you know not that you didn't want to do that, or you aren't doing that now, and there's something so much more positive. So I just invite you for the next week to think about that, and next Sunday share it. I don't know if I'll be here or not, but I would love to, at least on the recording, to see what people have to say about this. So, yes, and thank you very much, and God bless.